there already this week. Welcome to the Plant Based Morning Show. We've been at this a long time. I realize it's been. I mean, it feels like a long time to me. It's been at probably 2 months, maybe a month and a half, and then we had another month or half a month before that where we were just sort of doing these in a less formal manner, not every single day, but figuring out what it was going to take. So anyway, we're definitely hitting an interesting stride with them. They're kind of easy to do and they're fun, and just I keep wondering what's next. So I think soon I'm going to start reaching out to see if we can get some different people to pop in here and there. Doug, how's it going? Yeah, happy Tuesday. I'm pretty good. I was just saying, you probably heard me that I feel like we've entered a new era with this show where we can just kind of crank them out. They're easy and fun. Trying to keep the energy up, and I think now that we've hit that point of comfort, now it's time to how can we push the boundary, make it.
Yeah. we gotta somehow do something big. We gotta keep it wheels turning, keep things going and changing.
Yep. I have one of our listeners has gotten in touch. She's an ambassador for Athletic Brewing, and they're going to be shipping me some 6-packs to try. That is the non-alcoholic brewery. So I'm pretty excited about that. So maybe that's the next direction of the show. People ship us free things, we eat them, try them, and then we talk about them. I don't know. Speaking of that, Doug, kind of, I did not have pasta last night. That was a failed call by me. And if I had my sound ready, I would play the failure sound. But there we go. So no pasta yesterday, but I was still grateful that Aaron planned a meal, which he planned was and made was a Green Chef meal. Green Chef, our former podcast sponsor. They can cancel, they can pull their sponsorship, but they couldn't pull back that meal that they had shipped just a few days before that.
That's right.
Those arrived at my doorstep just before.
Which one did you have?
We had one that we changed it up. It was like a chimichurri sauce over it was supposed to be sweet potatoes and some I don't know, different vegetables and things. We ended up, the sweet potatoes weren't good. I didn't want them anyway, but they were kind of rotten. So we got rid of those and swapped in some carrots and things and put some chickpeas in there. And it was actually a really nice, pretty good meal. The vegan creamy chimichurri sauce was delicious.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to go down a Green Chef rabbit hole, but these past few meals have been particularly good. So, yeah, I thought so. So it is Tuesday. It is, I guess, Taco Tuesday, right? I mean, we gonna have tacos tonight. If yesterday was pasta, supposed to be pasta day, then today should be taco day.
Well, what Erin did last night was actually we had 2 Green Chef things that were kind of ready to go bad, so she cooked them both up. One of them is also chimichurri sauce. I don't know if you get the same thing. Black beans and some other stuff. Stuffed bell pepper kind of thing. So we were thinking we could just put that in tacos, and then we'd have, instead of having it on the bell peppers or rice or whatever it's in. But I don't know. I'm not gonna do Taco Tuesday, honestly. But I don't know. You know what? I had something on Sunday that I did not mention. A vegan meat. We were kind of in a pinch for dinner. We'd had all the soccer games and things that weekend, so we just didn't have a lot of time. But I was at Whole Foods and we grabbed some. Oh my gosh, I'm suddenly blanking on the brand name. Darn it! It's the Korean barbecue. Oh, Sweet Earth Foods, refrigerated vegan meats, soy protein. Grabbed vegan Korean barbecue, which was I don't know, just chunky. It seemed like chicken, kind of. I guess maybe it was supposed to be like pork. I'm not sure, but we grabbed that. Got an instant coleslaw, sort of, shredded ingredients from Whole Foods, and then made a little dressing for that. Put it on some sandwiches and had some green beans with it, and it was actually a very nice little delicious Sunday dinner. But I must say, even as I talk about those vegan meats now, ever since I read that article yesterday about the ultra processed foods, they just don't have the same appeal as they did. I can't unsee that.
You can't. It's not like that article was anything new. I mean,
I know
you had to know that these meats were ultra processed, and that's not good for you.
Yeah, I know. I was convincing myself that they were not that far from Whole Foods, and some of them, I don't know. The wheat gluten is basically just not that far from flour. But yeah, you're right. There's not that much new in it, but it's a good reminder. And we keep having the articles about it, and it's easy for it to sort of normalize it. But I need to keep in mind that stuff is a special treat. That is not everyday food.
Okay, so I need some advice from you and maybe everybody else. Back when we were talking about what to pack for a kid's lunches, school lunches, several weeks ago, back at the beginning of the show, we several people recommended like a protein muffin or some sort of baked good thing that was full of good nutrients and grains and protein and stuff. So I've been doing that. We've been doing a pumpkin muffin thing that was protein packed and delicious this week, that we baked over the last weekend. But I need some more inspiration here. What kind of baked goods are you throwing in lunchboxes? I think it was your wife actually that recommended this. So maybe she has some ideas.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if she's on here or not. She would know that more than I would. I do not know any kind of protein things that we make. I know now and then Compliment sends out emails, probably you're doing, that are recipes for baked goods that have Compliment protein in them. And since the Compliment protein is not flavored, it works pretty well in that kind of thing. Here she wrote banana nut muffins.
Banana nut muffins. Okay.
So I don't know what the recipe is. Maybe she can share it with us. I know she puts those muffins in there.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I didn't know they had protein in them.
Yeah.
Is something like a good banana nut muffin, is that helped by protein, do you think? Is protein, because again, on the topic of like adding foods that aren't quite whole, is it better just to load that thing up with nuts and whole grain flour, or do you think the protein powder is a welcome addition?
I think protein powder is a welcome addition. And my kid's lunch, I think the more protein she can get, the better. And just because she's getting a lot of like fruit and a lot of I don't know, different, I guess she's got like hummus in there most days and some beans and things like that. But I don't know. I just think that for a growing kid who's active and, keep them energized and fueled up, is add a bit of protein in there for sure.
Yeah. And Aaron has added that zucchini is also a good one. And even I like it. That's true. That's probably the best use of zucchini that I have found, is just to rather than put it in the garbage can, shred it up and put it into the muffins. And it turns out to taste pretty good.
Yep. Asian style veggie wraps with rice paper. Oh, that sounds good. Rice paper. She'd be into that.
It sounds like a lot of work, though. I guess
it does sound like a lot of work.
You do it maybe ahead of time, not the morning of, because that would not happen in my house.
No.
And you could put you could put some Asian barbecue in that, or Korean barbecue in those veggie wraps if you wanted to add some ultra processed food.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
All right, and then Aaron's got one more. Lemon blueberry loaf in Isa Does It is good to modify less sugar and no glaze and make it into muffins. Doug, I know you love Isa Does It, so I'm sure you'll be trying that one.
Absolutely.
Good. All right. Well, thank you, Aaron, for the helpful tips. Okay, so what do we got, Doug, today? We've got a new one. This is from Veg News. Wicked Kitchen, who we've talked about a few times recently. They now have a vegan concession stand in the Target Center at Minneapolis. I was going to say Minneapolis Arena, but Target Center is the arena. It's in Minneapolis. It's where the Timberwolves play, and now there's a whole vegan, gourmet food stand there. It's not just like Boca Burgers anymore, which is kind of what you used to get if you happen to get lucky and get a vegan treat at a ballpark or an arena. They have their sandwiches are the grilled chorizo bratwurst, the jalapeno Gouda burger, and the meatball sub. And these are all, they use their own gourmet baked meats. They all have a bunch of vegetables on there, some sauces. So this is serious food for the stadium, and good fit for the NBA. Robert Cheek was on here a few weeks ago telling us all these different NBA players who he follows who are vegan, perhaps more than any other sport, any mainstream sport anyway. NBA is where the plant-based diet has really taken off. So this is a good fit. I think fans know that players are vegan, a lot of them, and I think they'll go for this. So I love this. Wish it was near me.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Anytime that there is more vegan options at a ballpark or something like that, I think it's a good thing. And I do think it's cool that this is an entire restaurant that's dedicated to vegan options, and that one of the plant-based meat companies is kind of spearheading it. It looks like I remember when Shake Shack came to the Washington Nationals field, like it was a big deal, and the line was always really long, and like people sought out the Shake Shack at Washington Nationals.
Wait, is Shake Shack vegan?
No, not at all.
Okay, just a known restaurant that.
Yeah, just like a known restaurant that like people were going to instead of the general, whatever Nationals, ballpark thing. But what I don't like about this is that, I mean, they need to get those burgers or whatever into all the stands, right? Into the general, the general stands, not just a single restaurant. I just, I think like some people will go there, but their partner won't want to get something from there, so then you got to split up, or you got to stand in two different lines or whatever. And I don't know, it just seems like I don't know. I'm a little.
Okay.
I'm not as excited about this as I would have been a couple years ago.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
all I'm trying to say.
Hot take from Doug. Not excited about the vegan stand because it's not enough. He wants it everywhere. He wants it in all of them.
I want it everywhere.
You know what well, this isn't a baseball game. This is basketball, and I don't know what people eat at basketball games. I've never been to an NBA game. I went to a college game once.
Oh, they're super fun.
Are they? It seems like the court is so small, and you're so far away.
Which is why it's fun. It's because you're like, because the stands are just like straight up, basically. So and it feels like you're close. And I mean, basically, they're just nonstop entertainment. The lights, they got lights and music and
right,
like organ things and all the stuff that like it's just really fast paced compared to something like baseball or even football where they have commercial breaks and stuff like that.
It sounds a lot like my experience with NHL games.
Yes, yeah, it's very similar, right? Because they play on the same
and that
court.
is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I think this is good. The reason I really wish this was everywhere. Like, even if it was just, I'm not going to get greedy, Doug, like you, even just one spot in every stadium would be wonderful, because you're when you're in the park or the whatever stadium, you're stuck in there. You can't usually go out and come back in. So you can't get other food. You can't bring food in of your own. So like you have to, I don't know, you're there for 3 or 4 hours sometimes. And what we do at Charlotte FC games, which we did a bunch this year, we were season ticket holders, and we went up, like we would get peanuts and popcorn and beer all the time. And like, I don't know, it's like, and sometimes you tailgate or something beforehand. So it would be like 7 hours of the day, and that's all you're eating is popcorn and peanuts. And it just, I don't know. I just wish there was one item I could go get that would be good. And even if I had to go around the stadium to find the stand, that'd be fine. Honestly, though, I don't need all this fancy sauces and different stuff. I just like a regular old hot dog or a little burger would be perfect. Yeah. So like a Beyond Burger. So there's a AAA stadium here, like in Nashville, you've got the, I think, single A, minor league baseball. There you can go and you just get, I think it's a Beyond Burger, and they just have one of those in at least one stand. Maybe it's others.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
just
with
throw that Beyond Burger.
Just have a basic thing, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be fancy. And at a couple spots. The thing is, the vegans are going to find it, right? So like, I don't know if you need it everywhere, because most people don't care about it. And I don't think
why you need it everywhere. Like, people don't want to stand in two different lines. Like, if like, let's say me and my dad go to a game, like he might not want this. Right. And and so are we going to split up and both stand in two different lines, or can we like stand together or am I going to be like, hey, I'll go grab you a burger. What do you want? And then I have to go wait in this line and then go wait in the next line.
Yeah. You're right.
And then wait in the third beer line. It's terrible. This is trash.
Doug's just trying to spend time with his dad, and you're making him split up.
I know.
Wicked Foods, Wicked Kitchen, or whoever this is.
I only get to see my dad a couple times a year. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's unfair. It is. Right.
No. I think it's good. I think it's great.
Okay. All right. On to the next one, which I don't think either of us thinks is good. This is from, I mean, I think it's all over the place because you sent me one from somewhere. I found this from republicworld.com, which might be an Indian site. Yeah, it's an India site. But it came up first for me. After soup on Van Gogh painting, climate protesters pour milk out across several UK stores. So I glanced at the news over the weekend and I saw something about the Van Gogh thing. There's a famous painting. I don't know if it's sunflowers or what it is, but they poured Campbell soup over it. And it was an oil kind of protest. I don't really know what one protests about oil. I guess they wanted the British government to stop new oil and gas projects. So they poured soup on a famous painting. It seems like a logical thing to do. And then they super glued themselves to the wall or something. Yeah. So I think that's not new. I think someone else has glued themselves to like the Last Supper or something. I don't know. This is weird. I mean, we talked about Starbucks protests a few weeks ago where they were putting themselves in cement blocks and standing far away from the restaurant, just on the street, not really defacing any property or precious works of art. And I don't know, got news, got some coverage.
Yep.
So this seems like a bit much to me. So anyway, starting with that, like that's one thing. Then this new bit is that they're just going in stores. I guess they did it all at the same time, coordinated this thing. Animal Rebellion is the group behind this, at Rebels Animal on Twitter. And Whole Foods and a bunch of other places in England, maybe all in London, I don't know. They just dumped out milk onto the floors. Like they picked up the milks, I guess, that were at the stores and dumped them out on the floors and all over the other dairy foods too, in a move that's, I guess, supposed to draw attention and help calling on the government to support farmers in transition to a plant-based future. So nothing against Whole Foods or the grocery stores whose property they're just ruining. Right. This is how they get attention. So I don't know. I'm kind of blaming you for Doug. You're into the environment, and you're more into the politics and stuff. So I feel like you're kind of responsible here.
So I don't know if I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning or what, but so far we're very negative about about what we're talking about here. I hate this. I think it's awful. Yeah. So it looks like they were dumping it out. It's coordinated in multiple cities: London, Manchester, Norwich, and Edinburgh. I saw it this morning on Washington Post. I saw it this morning on NPR. All of the coverage is incredibly negative, and in all the comments and all the things that it's stirring up is just incredibly negative. There's nothing that this protest is doing except hurting the vegan movement, probably hurting the farmers and the government supporters who don't want to associate themselves with this type of activism, and then wasting the milk, right?
These right, exactly these that the animals were made.
Right, that the animals have already suffered to produce and provide. Like, steal the milk, steal it, and then just give it away to people who could use the calories or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
There's so many other ways.
That. Yeah.
What's that?
And then publicize that. That'd be a reasonable thing. I don't know.
And then, like, maybe worst of all is that the people that it's really impacting are the workers that are probably getting paid minimum wage to have to go and clean up all this stuff. Like, I just think this is a terrible form of activism. And, I fully support protesting. I fully support marching, sit-ins, making a scene, getting out in front of the politicians' homes and with signs, getting out in front of the stores with signs.
Which is all legal. These are things that the law allows us to do, right?
100%.
In this country anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that can move waves and get a lot of attention and make some real progress. This, to me, is just a waste of milk. It is hurting the workers who are going to have to clean up this massive mess of all the milk that's going underneath all of the aisles. It does not feel like a good way to support the movement and to obviously it's getting a lot of press, but to me it's all been negative press. So I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Our friend Steven often chimes in and he says that Matt is trying to just hide his disdain for vegan activists. I think he's not, but I don't know if he's halfway joking. I'm actually not trying to hide it. I hate this. This is awful. I don't think all vegan activism is wrong by any means. I just think this destructive stuff is a billion times worse than constructive stuff, where you actually make something that's valuable or make people inspire people or make people want to change. Make people want to be like you, perhaps, which is like you just said, Doug. And someone else, Dale Stevens, says, I feel like this just supports the wrong impression of what vegans are. Like, when I see this stuff, and before I was vegetarian, when I saw the activism, and it was the perfectly nice activism of handing out flyers and telling people you should be vegan. Right. I was like, I don't want to be. That does not appeal to me to be that kind of person. I don't want to do that. Now, I'm in hindsight, I think they're doing a good service. I don't have any problem with people handing out leaflets and even telling people what's wrong with eating meat. That's fine. It's more high pressure than I like to do, but whatever. But yeah, you look at this and no one. I don't think anybody looks at this and says, "Well, I want to be like them, so I'm going to be vegan from now on." It's just like you just don't want to be like them. There are people that you want to distance yourself from, by and large. So, I don't know. I don't know how this possibly achieves its purpose, other than it gets attention. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's good attention.
No, it doesn't. And honestly, whether it maybe some teenagers or something like this will see this and think, that's they're standing for something, and that's a crew that I want to be a part of, and whatever. Maybe they'll be motivated to ditch milk. Maybe, I don't know. That's probably a stretch, but it's possible. Right. But the people who matter in this case, they're trying to get the attention of the government. They're trying to get the attention of lawmakers. They're trying to change the narrative of how the government is supporting animal agriculture over plant milks. This is not going to sway any of them. It is going to turn them off, to not want to talk to you, to not want to talk to other activists who are maybe going through the appropriate channels. In my opinion, they're just going to want to distance themselves, and this is just up to no good. Because as soon as tomorrow, if a politician came out and said, you know what, I'm going to stand for oat milk instead of instead of dairy milk, they're just going to get lumped in with the animal rebellion people, and I don't know. I think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like almost like we're missing the point somehow. Like this is so obviously ridiculous that I feel like maybe I'm being old here and I'm missing like the
right. Maybe it is
the thing.
yeah.
But I just can't see it. I don't know. And you look at the tweet from Animal Rebellion. So it shows a kid holding up a plant-based future sign in front of these two women who are dropping milk in a big puddle of milk in the grocery store. And like, see that? Like, if I tell someone I'm plant-based the next day, I'm worried that they saw this and they're gonna think that I'm one of these crazy people. Like, it's embarrassing to be plant-based if it's associated with this. So I hate this. It's just stupid. I mean, did you?
So it's the several weeks ago we talked about this guy who was going around and slicing Beyond Meat packaging to waste it right in stores, so they would have to throw it away. And we were yeah, we were making fun of it. We were saying like, it's so stupid. Why would anybody do that? This is the exact same thing. Like, that guy wasn't making his point across, although he was being praised, I guess, by some influential news or hear what they have to say about this. But we were saying that was stupid and a waste of food and a waste of money and on just hurting the grocery stores. And this is the exact same thing. Although here they're making a huge ass mess that the employees are going to have to clean up, and that totally misguided.
Right. Yep. Hey Doug, Adam Sudd, plant-based addict, is requesting to bring us up or bring him up on stage, or whatever it's called. So I'm going to bring him up here. That means if you're watching on the multi-stream, if you're not on Instagram Live, then you're going to not hear his audio. You'll just hear me and Doug talking. So I may even mute us for a second. So hop over to Instagram Live, @NoMadeAthlete_official, and that's how you can join us again and hear Adam's audio. Adam was a big supporter of Robert's and my book, Plant-Based Athlete, in
awesome
last summer. There he is.
Hey,
how's it? Good. How are you doing? Yeah, you too. How?
Awesome. Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for joining in.
So did you hear this? Are you into this? You're not into dropping milk on floors and things, are you? Uh-oh, I just lost Adam's audio. Doug,
I did too.
You lose him?
Yep.
You there, Adam? Uh-oh.
Well,
try one more time.
Yeah, there we go.
Good.
milk dump wouldn't be his first choice, but there's a reason we know about Black Lives Matter, the Extinction Rebellion, etc. And he makes a perfectly good point, right? Like protests are most effective when they are inconvenient, when they are large and disruptive, and they can take over the streets. They can have a sit-in to where it makes it hard for a company or sit outside. If you're picketing, or if you're picketing a coal mining, if you're a coal miner and you're not going to work, and you're standing out front, and you don't want people to cross the line and go into work. Like that is 100% true. That is how protests have been effective in the past. But I just think that this is not the right means to do it. And Adam said it really well about us versus them. But there's a difference between being disruptive and being destroying property in a way that doesn't have a means to an end.
Yep. So last thing I'll say, we should move on, I guess. But I think Steven's point about they need to be disruptive and an inconvenience, I get that. And I get that, when someone's upset about what Starbucks is doing, they go stand outside the Starbucks and they make themselves visible and kind of inconvenient. Maybe they do something else that's even more inconvenient that I may not like, but whatever. But in this case, they're making it inconvenient, like you said, Doug, for the workers at Whole Foods or even for the Whole Foods store manager to have to deal with this problem in their store. And they're not really making it inconvenient for the farmers or the government. I mean, it just
right, exactly, yeah,
directing this attention towards this message. But it I don't know, it just seems like the wrong thing. So I don't know, not into it. Again, I feel like we're just the old guys who are missing the point. But
yeah. I mean, it does make me feel like the old guys.
It's just so obvious. I feel like there's just not even another side. But Steven's got one, so whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to less serious news. I mean, it's almost a joke because how much we talk about this stuff. Impossible has got a steak coming out. It's a filet mignon, a whole cut. It seems like that's the next frontier is the whole cut meats. Apparently I didn't know this. Impossible they didn't plan to make ground beef. That wasn't like their goal from the start, or make burgers. They wanted to make a system. Basically, I'm trying to find the exact phrasing. A technology platform that could be applied to create plant-based alternatives to a wide variety of animal products, including chicken, fish, and whole cuts like steak. They even have revealed a prototype for a dairy-identical functional milk, and I'm not sure what that means, retained its integrity when poured into a hot beverage. So maybe some vegan milks don't. They kind of disintegrate or something in hot beverages. I don't know. But yeah, so I didn't know that about Impossible Foods. It's no surprise at all because it seems like all of them now are turning their attention to whole cuts. But apparently they refuse to release this yet because it's not good enough. They said they're not going to do it until it can be right there with the animal products and maybe even improve on them. And they mentioned a company called Juicy Marbles, which I've never heard of before. This is Veg News, by the way, who recently has been on it. They've got a lot of good headlines. This Juicy Marbles, I guess they made a way of layering soy protein into linear fibers using the Meat-O-Matic reverse grinder TM9000.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds natural.
It sounds like the name is meant to be a joke, at least the way. But anyway, so Veg News says that the point of that, though, was to reverse engineer animal meat, improve upon it maybe in flavor longevity, juiciness retention, crust development, nutrition profile. And that gets back to this idea, which I've seen only in a few other articles, where they are talking about us not just trying to mimic what's already out there in animal meats and make the exact same experience, but can we use this technology? I mean, one would think we could use incredible technology that is allowing us to mimic this to actually go beyond what is offered in nature and make stuff that is actually tastes better, right? Not just better for the environment or better for animals, but an actual better eating experience. Perhaps just more consistent or something like that, but maybe even making a whole new cuisine we don't even imagine yet. It's my problem. I was thinking about this, and my problem why I think that probably won't happen is that we've evolved to like these certain tastes because we've evolved along with the food that was available. So we like the stuff that is possible given the inputs without too much technology. And so now when we're able now to engineer food that never existed in the environment before, how hard is it going to be to make that palatable? Snack companies obviously do it. They introduce salt, sugar, and fat into things in large amounts and then get your brain hooked on it. So we know we can do more of that. but I don't think that's really what people were looking for. So hopefully there are ways to trick the brain into, extreme pleasure without the resulting addiction to the food that comes with it, or at least make the food a healthy food that creates that. But I don't know. To me, this sort of sounds like a little too much. I don't know. Best of all possible worlds where it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Did you read that article I sent you about food cravings?
I do not recall that. Oh, about the fruit curbing?
Yeah.
I read blips of it. But talk about it. I love the topic.
The idea was like when we have anxiety or when we're stressed, we turn to food, and that's like kind of a natural instinct to do. But we've trained ourselves to turn to fatty foods and oily and salty foods and like junk food. But that there's no reason we have to do, like, chemically we don't have to do that. We can train our brains to turn towards fruit. So if you're stressed and you just and you want to stress eat, like if you start eating the fruit over time, and not even that much time, from what I remember, it was like 2 weeks or something like that. If you're doing that every day for 2 weeks, then there's actually changes happening in your brain where that is what you're going to start craving when you're stressed and anxious. So you're still kind of feeding that that need for to eat to calm your nerves or to calm your anxiety, but it's a health food instead of junk food. And so I do think that it's possible for us to train our desires and our cravings for healthier food. We just have traditionally turned towards that junk food.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's not shocking, but it actually is good to know because I haven't heard that before. I know that it's possible to like train our palates not to like salt anymore or require salt anymore. It just takes weeks without salt to do it, and so it's not easy to get there. Right. And I'm guessing that with the foods that, right, a lot of these foods that are addictive by design, it's just much easier to get yourself hooked on it, right? Because it stimulates from the first taste of it. It stimulates these pleasure centers in your brain that I guess fruits aren't going to do from the very start. But like anything else, because it makes sense, right? Fruit, I'm sure in the old days, fruit was the incredible food experience because it was this rich sugar source, and like you can't get that everywhere. And so you would find an orange tree and you want to eat every orange on it because it's just incredibly good. So it makes sense that machinery would be in our brain. But unfortunately, technology has made it somewhat easier to get addicted to other things. Okay, so moving on. Let's just talk about 11 Madison Park. We keep pushing off the mushrooms article. There's a mushroom article. Let's talk about mushrooms. I want to talk about real, actual food. 11 Madison Park actually is a way to do that a little bit. This is the restaurant, of course, that they closed down for the quarantine period. They were doing, maybe before that, they were doing they were food waste reduction stuff. They were repurposing the food waste. They even had a program, I think, involving other restaurants that they were maybe heading up, where they would repurpose food waste and they would give it to homeless people or people who didn't have enough food. And somehow, like during this period when they shut down, the guy Daniel Hum, I believe is his name. This is from Plant Based News, the article that I'm about to mention. He decided they could not reopen in the old way they had been. But it was already a 3-star Michelin restaurant, one of the best restaurants in the world. And they reopened this place. I don't know when exactly the opening was. May have been late 2021. I'm not exactly sure. But they reopened 100% vegan. Kept the same $335 price tag for the tasting menu, which I think is your only option when you go there. And, their thing is it's like a Broadway show. It's it's an experience for your palate. You don't go there to get comfort food or to just fill your belly with stuff. It's you go there to be entertained and to be dazzled and all that stuff. So Daniel Hum was on Rich Roll podcast. He was on several others apparently, and it just seemed like a huge thing. There, massive wait list. I think 50,000 people right now still. And the news is that I know
that's crazy.
We almost joined it after hearing Rich Roll, and then we texted some friends about going, and we didn't hear back, or whatever. So we just didn't get on the list. And I'm kind of glad. I don't want to go over there spend $335.
I'd go there. Dude,
I'd go.
Expensive, man. We got to do a live from the morning show from 11 Madison Park.
Now you put it that way. It was more the money. I was thinking we got to go to New York, go to a hotel, deal with all that, and then pay $335 just to probably not be that full. And then head over to Slutty Vegan after that, maybe to get the real food fix for $10. But anyway, so the news here from Plant Based News and from a lot of other sources is that they've kept their 3 Michelin stars after going plant-based. Apparently, an inspector from Michelin came in late summer of this year, and they checked all the boxes and decided this place still, even though they're now plant-based, deserves to keep their 3 stars. I don't know that much about Michelin stars. I've seen some movies about it, like the 100-Foot Journey, I think it's called. Have you seen that one, Doug?
I don't
Classic.
think so.
Must watch. It's about a French restaurant and an Indian family that opens their restaurant across the street, and then I don't know. It's all about keeping their stars, and so I think they upgrade from 1 to 2 stars in the movie, and it's this huge deal. They pop the champagne, but I think 3 is the most you can get.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I think so as well. The one movie I saw was a documentary. I forget what it's called, about the sushi maker who has like a sushi stand in the subway or something.
Yep,
that one's really good.
Did he get Michelin stars?
Yeah, I think he got one. It's a big deal. Yep.
All right. So anyway, I always hear people talk about 5-star restaurants and things, but when it comes to Michelin stars, 3 is the max. So I don't know what that's about. But I was looking, and there are only 114 3-star Michelin restaurants in the world, and there were like 2,000 or 2,500 that actually have a Michelin star. So pretty prestigious thing. And anyway, so they've kept it. So that's good. The interesting thing, as I was Googling this, I forget what I was trying to find, but I started seeing all these headlines that were like negative towards it, like this Bon Appetit article. The headline, this is from July 1st, 2022, so not far in advance of when the inspector came by to decide if they got to keep their stars. Their headline was 11 Madison Park wanted to go vegan, then it all went wrong. And I can't find any typos in that headline, Doug, or any sort of ways that I would reword it. but that was the headline. And
well, wouldn't it be 11 Madison Park went vegan and then it all went wrong?
Maybe you're right. Yeah, it could have been fewer words. Usually a good thing. That's a good point. I'm surprised I missed that. Anyway, they cited a few different bad reviews. One of them saying that their roasted beet thing tasted like, I don't know, lemon, dish soap and some other awful smell. Oh, and marijuana or weed burning or something. I don't know that. And then they got into these labor things, and apparently they were only paying people in the restaurant, the workers, $15 an hour. They were ready to publish an article saying it was going to be 20, but then these bad reviews came out. So they instead announced a $17 to $18 an hour raise instead of up to 20. So anyway, all this weird stuff. It just sort of seemed to me like Bon Appetit wanted to write a mean article about a fancy restaurant going vegan, and I couldn't really figure out why or what it was. But it was weird. Oh, lemon pledge scented beets. That's what they were calling the beet dish.
You know why?
Yeah, they just didn't like it. I don't know. It's weird.
Because now they think that 11 Madison Park is pouring milk out in Whole Foods aisles.
I mean, that may be what it's about, right? Not that exactly, but the whole idea that vegan stuff is bad because it involves all that and telling people that they can't eat. I think it's more that Bon Appetit doesn't want. They don't want other restaurants doing this. They don't want the world to go vegan because they're all foodies, and foodies think vegan is no good, and it just. So I'm guessing they like the status quo. They don't want people messing with their fancy food, and so when a restaurant does this, they're gonna bash them for it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna pick on Bon Appetit for a minute. We oftentimes pick on articles that are about like in the headline they're about one thing, and then they end up just talking about like the benefits of, or is plant-based meat good for you, and then they talk about the environment or something like that. I think that's what's happening here, is that they just wanted a reason to bash 11 Madison Park, and so half the article is about wage, which has nothing to do with going plant-based, and a much better article would have been about how Michelin star restaurants probably aren't paying their staff appropriately, and I bet that is a widespread thing within the industry, and unfortunately 11 Madison Park's just getting picked on here. Not to say they don't deserve it. Like, they shouldn't be paying $15 an hour in New York City to wait staff. That seems pretty ridiculous. But
that's a really good point. There was an article or a paragraph in the article that was saying, I've learned to be skeptical of the ways in which a vegan or plant-based approach can be used as a way to gain attention or to greenwash labor practices. Vegan companies like No Evil Foods out of Asheville, Doug, and vegetarian Amy's Kitchen have both been in the news in the last year for union busting and unfair labor practices, respectively. Plant-based food just means there won't be any meat on the plate. There are no requirements beyond that for sourcing of ingredients or paying staff. I mean, of course, there's no requirements for paying your staff in your plant-based food label. So it's just ridiculous. Like that. I guess if there's a history of vegan companies having bad labor practices, that let's make that its own article, so that then we can cite this as another one of them. But it's just a weird. It just seems like they're grasping, trying to find something to dig up.
And what is happening here is, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what other 3 Michelin star restaurants there are in New York City, but I feel very confident. I would put my money on the fact that 11 Madison Park is not doing anything out of the ordinary here by underpaying their wait staff. So like, talk about that. Talk about the discrepancies between $300 tasting menus and $15 an hour wage, because that is something worth writing about.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a like fancy restaurant like this? Like, I mean, I don't think, like I said, there's only 100 3-star Michelin restaurants, so I wouldn't expect that. But like, I guess why I'm asking is my experience with this stuff. I don't like these fancy restaurants. I really just don't. I don't know. I love comfort food. We've called it regional cooking. Some people call it peasant cooking, whatever you want to, thing that connotes this idea of like using simple ingredients and simple techniques, and you make food that's not expensive and it's filling and it's delicious and it just sort of satisfies you on many, many levels. To me, that's just the total opposite of the fancy food stuff where you're there for a show and a taste experience. I forget Rich. I think in Rich's thing, he talked about like the very opening course, the amuse-bouche was like I think it was like a tomato essence soup, and it was like a clear liquid that you drink it, and it just tastes incredibly like rich, pure tomato flavor. So like it's kind of interesting, but it's like it's just weird. It just doesn't seem. I don't know. It's like it stimulates something that almost like we were talking about before. It's like finds ways to stimulate the brain and get this interesting, but it's not really like because this food is nourishing. Not that it's unnourishing, because they're staying away from the plant-based meats and things like that. Unlike some other fancy plant-based restaurants, I think are trying to go with into the cultured meat world so they can serve steaks that are like steaks. But anyway, I don't know. I have never had a dining experience where I'm like, that was amazing. Maybe I just haven't been to one that's good enough. So I think we need to make this.
I think company. I don't know. I've never been to a restaurant that is doing essence of tomato clear soup. Like that level of fancy, and certainly no 3 Michelin star or even any Michelin star restaurants, I don't believe. But I would be into it. Like you said, it's about the experience more than just like the comfort food. I have been to, so I like this one stands out because it's one of the few places I've had like a true tasting menu where I think that's the only thing they offer. Nora's restaurant in DC is like it's I don't know if it's entirely vegetarian. I don't think it is, but they have a vegetarian tasting menu. They're real pro vegetarian, but it is also it's a fancy, expensive restaurant. And Nora, I forget her last name, but she was instrumental in starting the certified organic. Not Nora Jones. In starting the certified organic movement. Like I think maybe pioneered that whole thing. And so, but like the tasting menu where you're getting the really small portions, but you're getting 8 of them instead of 2 or 3 courses or something like that. I don't know. I'm into it. It's like an experience. It's a cool thing that, it's more than just sitting down for a dinner.
There used to be a Ganshan restaurant in Asheville. Now there's only Ganshan West. They closed the main one. And it was like Pan Asian food. They had a 8 or 10 course tasting thing that I did once, and we got the vegan version of it. And it was really delicious. By the end of it, I was so sick of food in general. I just didn't want anything. Like even 5 courses in, I was like, I can't eat anymore, and it just kept coming. So yeah, it's fun. It's good. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to imagine paying that kind of money for it. But I guess if you're into that, if that's your thing, then go for it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to 11 Madison Park for being the first plant-based 3 Michelin star restaurant. I think that's
really cool. That is big. They were not, as the Bon Appetit pointed out, as if this was another dig. They were not the first fancy restaurant to be plant-based, and maybe somehow Daniel Hum missed this. They said when he declared himself at the forefront of the movement or something. I don't know, but really good for you. I mean, it's amazing. These are the things that if we really want this diet to be taken seriously, then these are the type of little things that we need, little milestones. This much better to me than dumping milk out on the floor at Whole Foods.
Absolutely.
Although I guess it's a little easier to go do that than it is to start to turn a world-class restaurant vegan.
Maybe so.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, Adam Sudd, Plant-Based Addict. Look him up. He's been on Rich Roll, been on Simon Hill, and he mentioned another one who I don't know. But check him out. He has a really interesting story. And thanks everyone for joining us. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
All right.
All right,
everybody.
Bye.